the first order nonlinear PDE, something like complete integral, singular integral, etc. So today we are going to see Jacobi's method. We have already seen the Charpitz method in the last class. Okay, so I'll just have a quick recap of what we did in the last class. So in PDE's Charpitz method, what we have is suppose you have a PDE of this kind: f of x comma y comma z comma p comma q equal to 0. Then what we have is we need to we just find another g of x comma y comma z comma a comma b or p comma q, and then we try to eliminate the constants between these two, and we obtain all kinds of fx, fy, fz, fq, and then we find the answers for that. Then we it's okay. So what we have is we have some kind of equation like dx by minus f p, okay, and dy by minus f q, and dz by equal to dz by minus p into f z, sorry, minus p into f p minus q into f q. Okay. Similarly, we have dt by it comes in terms of fz and fx and fz. Okay, so that is going to become like fx plus fz into p. Similarly, dq by fy plus fz into q is good. So this is the one which we have seen. So once we solve this one, okay, this is like auxiliary equation. This is Charpitz auxiliary equation. So this is like nothing but a characteristic system we have. Once you solve this for equation, then you can find what is p in terms of a, b, c, etc. Right? And similarly, you can write q in terms of a, b, c, right? Substitute over here, okay? P in terms of a, q in terms of b, most probably to them. Substitute over here, okay? And then find the relations between the constants most probably. Then you can write this equation: dz equal to p dx plus q dy, okay? And that is going to give you the answers for your problem. So this is the general idea which we have seen earlier for Charpitz method. Okay, so you calculate the given PDE to the form z equal to u. Convert the PDE into this form: f of x comma y comma z comma p comma q equal to 0, and then write Charpitz auxiliary equation, which is nothing but this one, and compute corresponding values of p, f, q, fx, fy, fz, etc. and solve this characteristic ODE, okay, and substituting this equation. Once you substitute this one, you can just eliminate some of the values, and then you can find the values of p and q. Once you find p and q, substitute in this third equation, and you can find the answers. Okay. So that is nothing but the complete integral which we have seen. Now, in the similar line, what we have is we have something called Jacobi's method, where we are going to deal with more than one variable. So these are all the example also we have seen. So 3p square minus q, and then we found this equation. So for example, minus 6p dy by 1, etc. So from this one we found that p equal to a. So if p equal to a, substituting in the original equation, you get q equal to 3a square. Then once you integrate this one, you will get a dx and q dy values. Then you got the answer for that. Similarly, the second equation. Okay, second equation we did not discuss on the last class, so probably we'll discuss it today, and then we'll go to the next one. So I have the equation as p square minus y square q equal to y square minus x square. So I need to convert it in this form. Therefore, I am going to get p square minus y square q minus y square minus x square equal to 0 is going to come. This is nothing but my f. So I need to find my fp. So I will directly write my equation. So dx by fp is going to be minus fp. So 2p minus 2p is going to come equal to dy by minus fq, which is nothing but minus only y square minus y square, and equal to dz by, there is no z term, therefore this is 0. Okay, and then we have dz by no z term, but we have other terms like minus pfp minus qfq, right? So minus pfp minus p into minus p, so 2p square minus qfq which is nothing but minus y square q. Okay, minus into here minus y square, this will be plus y square. Here minus q into y square. Okay, minus y square, so this will be plus y square equal to dp by fx plus fzp. Fx is minus 2x. Fz is 0, so nothing will be there. Only dp by 2x is going to come. Okay, so dp by 2x. Okay, here minus x square, here plus x square is going to come. That will be here plus. Okay, then dq by fy. Fy is going to be minus 2y cube, minus 2y. Okay, and then fz is 0, therefore nothing will be. So these are the equations we will be getting. I hope I'm right. Yeah. So now if you simplify this, okay, for example, if I take these two equations, then I can see that this is going to be, I can put 2 gets cancelled, so x dx pdp is going to come. Okay, x dx plus pdp is going to come. So I can just write this as pdp plus x dx equal to 0. Therefore, this is going to become like p square plus x square equal to 0, equal to some constant. Therefore, I'm just going to write it as some, instead of a, I'm just going to write it as a square because that is also some constant, right? Okay. So in that case, what I can write, I can just write p square equal to a square plus x square. Okay. So if p square equal to a square plus x square, then what I can do, I can just substitute in this equation. Okay. Then what I can find my q is going to be so a square plus x square, and that side it will go. So it will become like so substitute here a square plus x square minus y square cube equal to y square minus x square. Okay, so this is going to become like I substitute here. Okay, put the same. So a square plus x square, a square minus x square. Then what I'm going to get? I'm going to get q equal to a square y square minus 1. Let me see. So this is going to be y square minus x square. Any other equations can be used. Okay, let's try to find that. So y square q is equal to, so if I take y square common, okay, y square q, y square minus plus y square q equal to a square plus x square plus x square is squared. Okay, y square q, a square plus x square. Therefore, if I just take this out, I'm going to get 1 plus y square. If I take it, 1 plus q is going to come equal to a square plus 2x square is going to come. Then what I'm going to get? I'm going to get y square equal to q equal to, I got right q. Okay, so if I consider this on the circle, okay, so what I'm get? Okay, sorry, there is a mistake here. P square minus p square is equal to a square minus x square. P square is equal to a square minus x square. Therefore, this is going to become like a square minus x square. So this is going to become like x square get cancelled. Okay. Then what I'm going to get? I'm going to get y square q minus y square q equal to y square. Here a square is there. Okay. So therefore, we are going to get y square is equal to a square by y square minus 1. Okay. So q is going to become like a square. Q is going to become like a square by y square minus 1. Okay. So in that case, I can just substitute this value. Q I know already. Okay, Q is already known. P is also already known. P I can write it as square root of a square minus x square. So dz is going to become like square root of a square minus x square into dx plus this is going to become like square root of a square by y square minus 1 into d. Now you use the integration formula and then get the answer. Okay, so that is going to give you the answers for your problem. Okay, so here no square root because q is there. Okay, so fine. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to generalize this problem further. Okay, how do we generalize the problem? Suppose I have instead of two variables. So far we have seen only two variables. Now we are going to generalize for more than two variables. So for more than two variables, what we need to do, we are going to say I'm going to take a new notation now. Okay, f of x1 comma x2 comma x3 comma etc. I can put xn comma p1 comma. I'm going to take only particular one. Okay, not every cases. See here I'm not involving any z. Okay, or any u is involved. Okay, z or u I'm not keeping. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to consider only this one now: x1, x2, x3, p1, p2, p3 equal to 0. This equation we are going to consider. Note that I'm not involving any u or z. Okay, so this kind of equation we are trying to solve using the method called Jacobi's method. Okay, so in Jacobi's method, almost this same thing as what we do in the Charpit's method. Okay, in Charpit's method, what we had was we had a one equation g. Okay, from that we eliminated. In this problem, what we are going to do is that we are going to use two functions I'm going to take. Okay, g1 and g2 I'm going to take, and then from these three equations I will eliminate the constants and find the answer. Okay, so this is a method used for solving nonlinear PDEs of order one involving more than two independent variables. Okay, more than three involving three or more. The basic idea is same as Charpit's method. So let's look at the procedure now. Okay, so here PI, if I mention PI is nothing but u of xi. Okay, that is it. Fine. Now note that here u does not appear. Okay, only u other variables. Now what I am going to do? I am going to consider two functions. One is g1, which is nothing but g1 of x1 comma x2 comma x3 comma p1 comma p2 comma p3 comma a equal to 0. Another is again same x1 x2 x3 p1 p2 p3 comma a equal to 0. So two functions I am going to consider. Okay, so in addition I am imposing some more condition. So the dou f of dou of f comma g1 comma g2 divided by dou of x comma p1 comma p2 comma p3 should be not equal to. Okay, p1 p2 p3 not equal to 0. So what is the definition of this one? This is nothing but dou f by dou f p1, okay, and dou f by dou f pt, etc. Okay, so similarly 3 by 3 matrix, Jacobian matrix you have to get. Okay, so the Jacobian matrix you get it, and then that should be not equal to 0. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to find the once we solve this one, okay, once we solve these three equations, so here I will put B only. Once we solve these three equations, what I'm going to get, I'm going to eliminate some of the values, or I will write P1, P2, P3 in terms of A, B, C, etc. Use these three equations and calculate your P1, P2, and P3. Okay. Once you solve these three equations, you will get P1, P2, P3. Then use that value in the dz equation or dq equation. Okay, so it is going to give you as pi dxi. Okay, summation. So this is going to be your equation, and integrate on both sides. Then you are going to get the answer. So that is the way which we do it in the Charpit's method. Same kind of method here. So now how do we what other conditions we need to impose such that this can be done? Okay, P1, P2, P3 can be computed. So for that, what we need to do, we are going to do something like we are going to do some differentiation of f g1, g2, and then we'll see like what we can do. Okay, so let us see. First, let us differentiate with respect to x1. So in that case, what I am going to get? I am going to get f of x1 with respect to x1, I am going to differentiate. So I am going to get f of x1 plus here x variable is there, so fp1, okay, into fp1 into p1 x1 is there, okay. Similarly p2 will be having, so fp2 into p2 x1 is there, plus fp3 into p3 x1 is there, okay. Means this is p3 x1 means I am just differentiating this with respect to x, okay. So this is nothing but dou p2 by dou x1, dou p3 by dou x1, same way, okay. So this is the one which I got. So hello. Madam, I will call you back in a class. Okay, so next what we do similar to x1, we are going to differentiate with respect to the second one also. Okay, so we will just check eliminate. We will eliminate those concepts also, and then we will try to find the answers. So same way, what I'm going to do, same way I'm going to differentiate this one g1. So that in that case I'm going to get g1 x1 plus gp1 p1 x1 plus gp2 p2 x1 plus gp3 p3 x3 x1 equal to 0. Now from these two I'm just going to eliminate these constants p1 x1. Okay, if I just remove p1 x1, what I can do is that I can just multiply this one with gp1 and this one by fp1 and then subtract it. In that case I'm going to get it like fp1 no, I'm going to subtract multiply here, so fx1, okay, here it is going to become gp1. I'm multiplying here gp1 minus subtracting here, so fp1 g1 x1 is going to come, okay, plus again here fp1, so from here to here, so this is going to become like gp1, okay, gp1 fp2, okay, this already cancelled, okay, gp2 minus gp1 fp2 minus fp1 gp2, okay, fp1 gp2 into p2 x1 plus again gp1 fp3 minus fp1 gp3 into p3 x1 equal to 0. Okay, so if you just see this one, this is nothing but if I just define dou of f comma g divided by some for example this one I can just write it as p1 comma x1, okay, p1 comma x1. Let's see whether it is going to be true. So if I just find that, okay, so this is going to become like fx1 I can write it as gp1, okay, let me see, no, but fp1 is coming first, so it should not be correct, so then I gotta change this one, okay, so I'll put x1 comma p1 here, then it will come correct. So then fx1, yeah, correct. So fx1 is going to come, okay, then here I can put gx1 g1 x1, okay, so this is g1. Similarly here I can put with respect to p1 I can put that, so there I can put fp1 and gp1, okay. So if I just take the determinant, then this is going to be fx1 minus gp1, fx1 into gp1, fp1 into g1 x1, correct. Okay, so same way this one I can write it as, okay, this one I can write it as dou f comma g1 divided by dou p2 p1, okay, this is going to be like p2 p1. Same way this one I can write it as same way, okay, so this is I'm just erasing, so just remember this formula, so I can just rewrite this as, okay, so dou f g1 by dou f x1 comma p1 plus dou f comma g1 divided by dou p2 comma p1 into P2 of x1, P2 suffix x1, okay, P2 suffix x1 plus dou f comma g divided by dou of P3 comma P1 into P3 x1 is going to come. So I can just generalize this for the remaining thing, okay? So I can just eliminate. Similarly, I can just so here I differentiated with respect to x1 and differentiated with respect to x1 and then find that. Same way, what I can do the same kind of differentiation for x2, okay, and eliminate the values over there. So in that case, a similar kind of equation is going to come. What I'm going to get in the place of x1, I'm going to get x2 p2 here. Okay, this is going to change, like p1 p2 is going to come, and this also will change, which is going to come like p1 x2 is going to come. Similarly, here p3 x2 is going to come. This is also going to change. Okay, so this is the equation, 3 equations you will get. The same way you can just eliminate, and the 3 equations you will get. Now, suppose, okay, so I'm going to get 3 equations. So I'll write those 3 equations. Let me write those 3 equations. So I have an equation f of x1 comma x2 comma x3 comma p1 comma p2 comma p3 equal to 0. So again I am going to get a similar kind of equation, dou f comma g 1 divided by dou of x2 comma p2 plus dou f comma g 1 divided by dou of P2 P1, so that is going to be like P1 P2 P1 P2 is going to come, and then you are going to get it like P2 X2 is going to come, P1 X2 is going to come. Okay, so P1 P2 P1 X2 is going to come, P1 X2, okay, plus dou f comma G1 divided by dou P3 P1, that is going to become like P3 P2, okay, P3 P2 into P3 of x2 is going to come equal to 0. Same way you can find dou f by dou g of dou x3 comma P3. Same way here it will come. So now suppose these two are equal. Okay, suppose these two are equal. P1 of x2. Okay, one more is going to come that I have already given that. So P1 x2 equal to P2 x1. Suppose, okay, here P1 x2 is there, here P2 x1 is there, here P1 P2 is there, here P2 P1 is there. What is the difference? What is the relation between dou of f comma g by dou of x comma y, and what is the dou of f comma g by dou of y comma x? What will be the relation? What is the relation between these two? There should be something filled over here. Anyone? Anyone? Are you there? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Negative. So it is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is going to be negative of this one. So in that case, suppose I assume that P1 x2 equal to P2 x1. Okay. So in that case, what is it going to happen? These two are going to equal, and these are going to be negative. Okay. One is going to be the negative of other one. Similarly, I will have P3 P2 in the second, and the third term I will have a P2 P3. P3 P1 also will be there in the third term. So that also going to become like negative. So I can impose the condition like P1 x2 equal to P2 x1, and then P3 x2 equal to P2 x3. Okay. Similarly, P3 x1 equal to P1 x3. Okay. In that case, what it is going to come? If I just sum it up, okay, I'm going to sum these together. Then what I will get is that. So I just assume this condition: Pi of xj, Pi xj, okay, Pi with respect to xj if I differentiate, that is same as Pj differentiate with respect to xj. Then if I add these three terms together, what I'm going to get? These terms will get cancelled. These are all terms will get cancelled. Okay, so only this term will remain. So that is going to give me the condition that I'm going to get a condition like dou f comma g1 divided by dou of x comma p1 plus dou f by f comma g1 divided by dou of x1 comma p1, x2 comma p2 plus dou of f comma g1 divided by dou of x3 comma p equal to 0. Okay. So because of that relation which you already mentioned, it's dou of f comma g1 by dou pi comma dou pj equal to minus. So similarly for this equation also you can do. Okay, so I did so far G1. Same thing you can do for G2. F comma G2 you can do, G1 comma G2 you can do. Again you are going to get a similar kind of relation is going to come. Now if you just from 17 and 18, okay, so for example I'll just concentrate only this one. 17, if I just rewrite this equation in expanded form, what I'm going to get, I'm going to get it like so this is going to be f at x1, okay, and g at x1. So this is going to become like fx1, then into the denominator is going to become like gp1. So gp1 minus minus I'm going to get gx1, fp1 is going to come. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to get here f at x2, g at p2 minus f at p2, g at x2. Okay. Yeah. Plus f at x3, g at p3 minus f at p3, g at x3 equal to 0. So if you just see only in terms of gp1, gx1, etc. This is nothing but a kind of semi-linear ODE. Okay, this is going to be a semi-linear ODE. So you are going to get a semi-linear PDE, sir. Semi-linear PDE. So in that case, what you can do is that you can just obtain the characteristic equation as we did in the earlier characteristic ODE problem. So what you are going to get, for example, if I compare, if I just write this one, what I am going to get, wherever I have GP1, I am just going to click DP1. Okay, so DP1 divided by fx1 is going to. Okay, because I'm just solving for this GP1 like the way, so you just consider this as UP1 which you consider the semi-linear. So this is going to become like TP1 by dx1. Okay, similarly this is going to become like TP2 by fx2, and this is going to become like TP3 by fx3. Okay, equal to, if I consider all the x1 variables, so this is going to become like tx1 by minus fp1. dx2 by minus fp2 equal to dx3 by minus fp2. Okay. Because here this is the variable like dx dy. So this is called Jacobi's method auxiliary equation. Okay. So now you can just imagine that if you want to do the similar kind of things for the n-dimensional variable also, you can extend this further. Okay. So this is going to be your characteristic ODE or the auxiliary equation, Jacobi auxiliary equation. From this one, what you can do, the remaining procedures are as you do in the either in the characteristic system which you solved in the quasi-linear ODE or semi-linear ODE, sorry, quasi-linear PDE or semi-linear PDE, or the chart bits, same way you have to do, and then you can solve this value. You can find what is the value of P1, P2, and P3, okay, and substitute it over this equation, summation Pi dx. Then integrate it and then find the constant. Okay, so P1, P2, P3 you can find. It is enough to find P1 and P2, and you can substitute it over here. Then you will get a relation for P3. Then substitute it in this equation, and there will be one more integration constant. So let's see one problem, one or two problems, and then we'll understand how to do it. So this is the procedure. Okay, so this is the general procedure for n equations, sorry, n variables. So in n variables, again you need to consider similar kind of g1, g2, g3, etc., a1, a2, an, etc. You have to consider. Again here, I'm not solving all kinds of equations like u is not involved over here. Okay, u I'm just ignoring here. So only those kind of problems we are solving using the Jacobi. So let's see one or two examples. So let's take this example. So remember this one. TP1 means fx1, TP2 means fx2, TP3 means fx3. Whereas for dx1, correspondingly fp1 should come, but with negative sign. That's the only difference. Okay, so let's solve this problem. Okay, keep remembering this. Okay, so let's take P1 square x1 plus P2 square x2 equal to P3 square x2. Okay, so f is nothing but P1 square x1 plus P2 square only x2. P2 square x2 plus minus P3 square x3. Okay. So now we need to find your equation. So dx1 by fp1 is going to become like dx1 by minus fp1. So 2p1 square. Okay. No, fp1, right? So 2p1 x1. 2p1 x1 equal to minus plus I will put dx2 divided by minus this is going to be 2p2 x2, okay, equal to dx3 by this is going to become like minus and minus plus is going to come. So 2p3 x3 equal to dp1 divided by I have to do the with respect to x1. So this is going to become like p1 square equal to dp2 divided by p2 square equal to dp3 divided by minus p3 square. I take these two equations. Okay, if I take these two equations, then I am going to get p1 get cancelled. So I am going to get dx1 by minus 2x1 equal to dp1 by p1 is going to come. Okay, so I can just integrate that. This is going to become like log x equal to minus half into log x1 is going to come. Okay, so this is going to become like ln p1. So I can just write ln p1 equal to minus half into ln x1. Okay, plus some constant is going to come. So that constant is going to write plus am I correct? p1 square, p1 square. There's some mistake again. Yeah, that should be some mistake. Yeah, so it should be not minus 2, it should be 1 minus 1 by 2. Okay, so minus 1 by 2 ln x is there. So if I just integrate this, if I just simplify this further, you are going to get p1 is equal to, okay, p1 is equal to, so this will become like 1 by x1 is going to come, and then you are going to get that. So I can write this as some constant is going to come. Okay, so that constant I can just replace that with another constant, that p1 equal to a by root x1. Okay, p1 is equal to a by a1 by I will put a1 because corresponding to p1 I am getting, so a1 x1. Same way, if you take these two equations, okay, same way if you take these two equations, then what you are going to get? You are going to get p2 is equal to, okay, p2 is equal to a2 by root x2 is going to come. Okay. Now you don't need to work for the p3. Okay, you don't work for the p3. Directly you can jump into that equation because you can just eliminate the other variable, or even if you simplify also, it doesn't matter because you are going to get that same. So p3 is equal to, also I can use p3 is equal to a3 by square root of x3 is going to come same way. Okay. Now use this value over here, and then you can eliminate one of the constant. So what you are going to get? You are going to get it like if I substitute it over here, a1 square by x1 square. Okay, a1 square by x1 will get cancelled. So a1 square. So I'm just going to use it over here. So a1 square divided by x1 into x1 is going to come, plus a2 square x2 divided by x2 is going to come, equal to a3 square x3 into x3 is going to come. So everything is going to get cancelled. So I can write a3 is equal to square root of a1 square plus a2 square. Okay. So now you found already the values of a3. Therefore, you can use that over here. So in that case, I can just put d set equal to p1 is going to be a1 divided by square root of x1 into dx1, plus p2 is a2 divided by square root of x2 into dx2, plus a3 I have already found, which is nothing but square root of a1 square plus a2 square divided by square root of x3 dx3. Okay, so you have two variables now. Once you integrate this one, you are going to get another variable. So if I just integrate this one, you are going to get 2 a1 x1 etc. Okay, so once you integrate this one, you are going to get one more constant. Okay, so that constant I just call it as b or a3, whatever you call it. That's the, so you got the complete integral because three variables are there, three constants are there. Okay, so this is the idea for this one. Same way, if you find the complete integral for this equation, once again you can do the same kind of logic. P1 square, P1 cube plus P2 cube plus P3 equal to 1 by Jacobi method. What you are going to get? You are going to get Again, the same kind of logic. Okay, P1 equal to A1 you will get, P2 equal to A2 you will get. Substitute in the original equation. Okay, then you will get the answers for this. Okay, so I just leave it as an exercise. And there are a few more exercises which you can do. Okay. Now we are going to go for the next one. So this is the method for solving the nonlinear PDE. Now some of the important topics which I am going to cover since we are going to write a CSR exam next week. So at least one of the questions will be from this topic. Okay. Let's see that classification of PDEs. Okay, means I'm going to classify the PDEs of second order linear PDE. Okay? The already we have seen in the first order PDE, we have classified as linear, semi-linear, quasi-linear, almost linear, fully non-linear, homogeneous, non-homogeneous this way. Now here in second order linear PDEs, we are going to classify. Of course, we have the homogeneous and non-homogeneous parts are there, but depending on the coefficients, okay, A, B, C, for example, any general second order linear ODE can be written in this form: A U XX plus B U XY plus C U YY plus D U X plus E U Y plus F U equal to H, and denoting H because homogeneous. So for this equation, we are going to concentrate only these three variables. Okay, A, B, C. So I can rewrite this equation in this format: A U X X plus B U X Y plus C U Y Y equal to pi of, I can write it as x comma y comma u comma ux comma uy. So in this format I can write it. Okay. The remaining thing I'm just pushing it on the other side and then so you might have seen a similar kind of equations in your school days. Okay, something like ax square plus bxy plus cy square. Okay, and then e or dx plus fy plus ey plus f equal to some h or g. Okay, so these kind of equations are equations you might have seen in your school days. Okay, I'll just simply put it. Okay, some constant. Okay, these kind of equations you might have seen in your school days. Okay, so what is this equation? Do you remember what is this equation?
Conic section.
Conic section. Okay, so this is called conic section. So depending on this values of A, B, C, you might have classified this equation as parabola, hyperbola, and elliptic. Okay, parabola, elliptic, hyperbola. So the same kind of logic we are going to use it over here. Okay, so we are going to use the same kind of. This is something similar to that. Okay, so why do we use a similar kind of thing? If you remember your ODE classes, we used to get the auxiliary equation for that. Once you are using the y equal to e power m1x, you used to get that m1 square, etc. So if I just use some kind of auxiliary equation for that similar way, what I'm going to get a similar equation. So in that case, I can just classify them again in the same format: okay, parabola, elliptic, and hyperbola. So that's the reason I'm going to use it. I'm just going to classify the PDEs also in a similar way. Okay, so for each point, I'm going to classify whether it is going to be a parabola or elliptic or hyperbola, depending on this constant b square minus 4ac. So for this one, b square minus 4ac, the discriminant we used to find. So depending on the discriminant, we say whether it is a parabola or hyperbola or elliptic. Same thing we are going to do. Okay, so here note that this A, B, and C should not be 0 simultaneously. If it is simultaneously 0, this is not a second order linear PDE. This is going to become a first order linear. So it should not be simultaneously 0. Now what we have, so here C, D, E, F, everything you can just assume it as a function of x and y. And U belongs to C square omega because U is two derivatives are there. So these are some of the conditions too. So this is similar to conic section. So what I can do, depending on the b square minus 4ac, I can just classify them as hyperbolic or parabolic or elliptic. So if b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, okay, then I call that as hyperbolic. So this kind of equation occurs in the fluids or waves, okay, transport of some physical quantity variable. Similarly, you can just put equal to 0, okay. If I put equal to 0, then that is going to become like parabola. Yeah, parabola, okay. And if you put less than 0, that is going to become elliptic. Okay. So let us say we have already seen. So this is also like we have seen a similar kind of equations in terms of our heat equation, wave equation, Laplace equation. So those are also going to fall under one of these categories. Okay. So that's the reason. In fact, if we say like one equation like a Laplace equation, so that is going to form like elliptic mostly. So in that case, what you are going to get? You are going to get it like those kind of equation. We just generalize. Elliptic equation we generalize like kind of Laplace equation. Similarly, you can see wave equation and heat equation. Those are going to be classified. Let's see like what are all the things. So okay, so let's consider this kind of problems. Mostly we see it in the CSI question. At least one of the questions will be there on this slide. Okay, so they will be giving some kind of some equation, and then they will ask you to identify whether it is parabola or hyperbola or elliptic or certain region. See, same equation, okay, same PDE. PDE may be same, but at one place it may be hyperbolic, at one place it may be parabolic, at one place it may be elliptic. For example, let's consider this trichome equation. So uxx plus xuyy equal to 0. Okay, so let's consider this equation. Now, what is b here? B is 0. Okay, a is 1 and c is 6. So I got to find my b square minus 4ac. So b square minus 4ac is going to become like b is 0, a is 1, and c is 6. So this is going to become like minus 4x. So if x is greater than 0, so I need to check whether b square minus 4ac is. So I got to classify them hyperbolic or parabolic or elliptic. So if b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, then I can say that this is hyperbolic. Okay. So that means what does it imply? Minus 4x is greater than 0, then it is hyperbolic. Okay. So what does it imply? X is less than 0, then it is hyperbolic. Similarly, if b square minus 4ac is equal to 0, okay, then you are going to get 4x equal to 0, okay, minus 4x equal to 0, which implies x equal to 0. Okay, in that case, sorry?
Parabola?
Yeah, parabola. Yeah, parabola. Okay, parabolic is. And minus b square minus 4ac is less than 0, then in that case, you can simply say that x is greater than 0. Okay, so in that case, it is going to become like empty. See, same equation, but I didn't change anything. But at one region, for example, on the x less than 0 plane, in the plane x less than 0, I'm going to get it like hyperbolic. When I put x equal to 0, that means you are going to get a another plane where you are going to get like parabolic. Similarly, x greater than 0, it is going to be the elliptic. Same case. Similarly, you can just put that values over here, and then you can find that a different equations are going to come. So let's look at a few more problems, examples. Okay. So we say this PD is said to be parabolic or hyperbolic or elliptic if and the particular region, if it is parabolic or elliptic or elliptic at each point in that omega. Okay. So in that each point in omega, if it is parabolic, we say it is parabolic in that. Similarly for elliptic and parabolic. So let us see that. First equation is wave equation. Okay, utt minus c square uxx equal to 0. It's a wave equation. Okay, so we can classify that as parabolic or hyperbolic. Okay, so let's take this one utt minus c square uxx equal to 0. Okay, so c we always assume greater than 0. Let's say. Okay, then what will happen? This is going to become like b is nothing but I can just take a equal to 1, b equal to 0, c equal to minus c square. Okay, so in that case, if I find b square minus 4ac, so this is going to become like 0 minus a, and this is going to be c square, and c square minus c is going to get become like c square only. Okay, so c square is going to come minus and minus will get cancelled. So 4c square is going to come. So 4c square is always greater than 0. Okay, so that means this is always, what is this equation? Wave equation is always, come on, what is wave equation?
Hyperbolic.
Okay. Wave equation is hyperbolic equation. Now if I just take ut minus c square uxx, this is nothing but my heat equation. So for heat equation, okay, so if I take this equation, in this case what is going to happen?
Parabolic.
There is no a here. Okay, I can take only a also, like c square or something. There is no b here, no c square. Okay, only one is there. Okay, therefore it is going to become like always 0 because both, at least two of them are going to become 0. Okay, so therefore this is going to give b square minus 4ac is going to be 0. So it is always parabolic. Okay, so heat equation is parabolic. Wave equation is hyperbolic. And now we go for Laplace equation. So if you go for the Laplace equation, in this case, your a is going to be 1, b is going to be 1, okay, and c is going to be, sorry, c is going to be 0, c is going to be 1. So b square minus 4ac, so that's going to become like minus 4ac is going to be minus 1. So it is less than 0. So that is going to be elliptic. Okay.
Nabil.
Okay. So Laplace is always elliptic. So you can just see that whenever we say whenever we solve the parabolic equation, almost the same logic whatever you apply in the heat equation, similar kind of logic you can apply for your parabolic equation. Same thing for hyperbolic equation. Whenever you solve a hyperbolic problem, almost same kind of logic whatever you apply for the wave equation, similar logic. Okay, so these are the three important. That's the reason they say like three important PDEs, because each one is representing a family of PDEs. Okay, because mostly you have only these three PDEs are there. Second order linear PDEs. One is parabolic, another is hyperbolic, another is elliptic, and correspondingly you have the heat equation, wave equation, Laplace equation. That's the reason they are going to represent a big family of equations. Okay, last equation, 1 minus m infinity square dxx plus uyy. So let's take this equation. This is called this m infinity is called as Mach number. Okay, this m infinity is called as Mach number, which is going to be useful once you are going for the supersonic jet or subsonic jet, etc. So in this case, once again you can take a is going to be 1 minus m infinity square, okay, and b is 0 and c is 1. So therefore b square minus 4ac is going to become like 4 into a is 1 minus m infinity square into c, okay, is equal to less than or equal to 0. Sorry, is there. Okay, so either less than or equal to 0 or greater than or equal to 0 is going to come. So I'm just going to remove this 4 and I'm just going to consider this one. So if it is less than 0, what I'm going to get, 1 minus m infinity square is less than 0. Okay, so this is going to become like hyperbolic. Sorry, elliptic. Okay, less than 0, right? So elliptic. So in that case, I'm going to get 1 minus m infinity square is less than 0. Therefore, this is going to become like greater than 0. Okay, therefore I'm going to get m infinity and bringing it over there. So if m infinity is less than 1, in that case it is going to become like elliptic. Okay, now if it is greater than 0, suppose this is greater than 0, that is going to become like hyperbolic. Again I'm going to get like m infinity is going on the other side. Okay, then in that case m infinity is greater than 1, I'm going to get hyperbolic. Okay, if m infinity is equal to 1, then I'm going to get it like a parabolic equation. So this is the way they classify them as subsonic. So this case they call it as subsonic, this case they call it as supersonic, and m infinity they just call it as sonic. Okay, so these are the equations. Mostly you will get a similar kind of equations. At least one question will come in this type. Okay, in CSI question, you will get one of these equations they will be giving with some expression, and then what you need to find? You need to find the b square minus 4ac. Then you need to find in which region it is elliptic and which region it is parabolic. Okay, so you can get at least, I don't know how many marks now. So at least the corresponding marks you can get. Okay, any questions? We'll see the canonical form in the next class. Okay, how to transform and then how to solve the problems. At least these 3 problems.